and welcome to the NXT review. We are the Dudley Boys of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of NXT. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Oh, some Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, AEW, Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a very good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, they're joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review NXT Roadblock. Beep, beep, get out the bloody road.
I'm flooded with positive thoughts about this show, as opposed to sitting in a flooded building having to record in a different room entirely. Feels a long time ago, 24 hours, doesn't it? We've all experienced a lot. But my favourite experience in the last 24 hours was NXT Roadblock.
Thank you.
Which I thought was a thoroughly excellent time. And in just about every match, there was an over-delivery of sorts. That's not to say that expectations were rock bottom for all of them, but certainly for some of them, I didn't think much was going to happen, and I was impressed. In the ones that I was looking forward to stuff, I was even more impressed. This was a really, really strong TV card.
Usually I like to try. Sometimes it just flows effortlessly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't think of anything to say about this. I don't think there was a single second on a broadcast of all things, WWE NXT, there wasn't a single second where I'm like, that's terrible.
That's the bar for you.
There's some excellent stuff on this.
Yeah.
Some excellent stuff. One thing in particular where it happened where I'm like, that's great. And more people should have ripped it off by now. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, not to be too hyperbolic.
Hyperbolic.
But was this one of NXT's best TV shows ever? In
Probably,
recent memory.
Yeah, it's made me laugh there because me and Sid have gone for the intentionally rubbish flood/plumbing/leak related pun, and you just shouted bollock. I was thinking, how does that tell you? No, it doesn't. He just wanted to say bollock.
Just want to say bollock, yeah.
Just a nice bit of wordplay.
It was though, yeah, it was. They do these TV specials now. They've kind of normalised it in between the Sunday pay-per-views they're trying, but these aren't as memorable as those typically.
Yeah,
like maybe it was the theatre that did make it feel different. And
MSG, of
special.
course, yeah.
It looked wonderful.
It looked amazing. Like, just what a great visual the whole night that you couldn't get bored of as well.
Even like the bit in the back with the family, I was like, where are you sat? That looks amazing.
But yeah, it's certainly in comparison to many of the TV specials, the Halloween Havocs, whatever, this stands above all of them.
Well, let's get into it because there was a lot of wrestling on this show. It was initially
Normally a bit too much over 2 hours, I'll be honest. 5-6 matches, whatever. Whoa, slow it out.
It was the TNA tag titles on the line to kick us off. The Hardy Boys versus the NXT tag team champions. Their tag titles weren't on the line, but the NXT tag champs are, of course, Axiom. Native Fraser.
When I'm cleaning windows.
God, I've missed you. Little soundboard.
We did preview AEW before.
Yeah, but like with that especially, I remember I had a flashback to yesterday attempting to recreate the soundboard, and there's levels to this game.
And basically a computer is better than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's where we're all heading, let's be honest.
Yeah. Soundboard was the soothsayer of AI.
Yeah.
Although we did have the fart noise yesterday, so it's not all...
Wait, it was the soothsayer of
Wait, what? I'm sorry. Yeah.
the soothsayer of
Oh, I've gone the wrong way. Hey. Hi.
Oh, that was worth it.
For some reason. Hey.
Egg. It's all worth it.
Artificial egg. That's the end for us. When they got robots instead of the gobbledygooker, you fucked it.
Yes, so TNA tag titles on the line. Hardy Boys versus Fraxiom. Early on, Matt does his smash head into the turnbuckle.
Do you ever, interact with Grok and just insult it when it can't get something right?
I've not actually spoken to Grok before. I'm scared of it.
Stupid idiot Grok.
Sometimes I do. You know what? I'm going to put this out on the goddamn podcast, right? Because I'm trying to find a book. Not necessarily to reread it. I'm just there's a great bit of dialogue, right? A great bit of I was like, that is such a good joke. And I read it in a book once, and I'm fairly certain it's from a somewhat modern American author.
500 Big Jokes for Kids.
No, right. And it's about this. Can't even remember what it's about, but I'm guessing from this thing that's just always stayed with me that the character in the book is some kind of carny or is able to come back to life, right? Mm. And the joke is, God, these resurrections are killing me. And it's always stuck with me. And I've asked Grok where it's from. It was one of those probable matches. I was like, what do you mean probable matches? How do you know? So I just start calling Grok. And it's Musk's thing. Actually, it's got no feelings.
I remember the day Grok launched, or they'd not really even launched it. It's just, as with X, stuff just happens, isn't it? And it taken an update on my phone without me realising. We were just about to record a SmackDown thing, and I was showing Wilbourn something on Twitter or X, and then we were just like, "What's that? What's Grok?" It's usually I woke up today is this app that's already slop and it's already it's showing you the worst of your days. We up time to room a morning, before I've even got out of bed. What's Grok now? Who's got Grok? Gotta keep up with Grok.
Who's Vink?
But Grok. Problem with Grok is, it's a bit of an artist, isn't it? Grok's all right with the old pictures.
Oh, is it?
Kind of ChatGPT in the mud when it comes to generating funny images. Which, I don't think Grok could, or AI could or should, replace podcasts.
Well, certainly not yesterday's.
Writers. The arts. We're doing it wrong, aren't we? AI taking up jobs of artists is wrong. But no artist would ever take a paid commission of some of the silly bollocks you can generate. And you can tell too. We can, luckily. Our kids won't be able to. That's the problem. But we don't have to worry about that one yet. It's a big problem. Massive, actually.
But we had no problems with this opening match.
No.
The Hardy Boys versus Fraxiom. Matt does his delete, has a smashing Axiom's head into the turnbuckles. Pulls Axiom into a sit-out powerbomb for 2. In comes Nathan Fraser. They send... He gets his amigo, and they send Matt into Jeff. They both end up on the outside. Fraser dives onto them. Axiom. Fraser again. Axiom with a big springboard moonsault to take us to a break.
It looked wonderful. Yeah. I do worry sometimes. I'm sorry for interjecting. No. I know you get into a flow. But sometimes we are guilty, as fans and critics and whatever, of just glossing over, oh, that looked amazing. How difficult would that be to execute? Did he? Because I remember watching the replay of this morning, and it just showed you Axiom just turning his heels, landing without just on the top rope, then in one motion jumping back off. When they slow it down, it's like, Christ. It's incredible stuff.
It's the churn's fault we don't celebrate it enough.
Yeah.
But it's good that it keeps happening because it reminds you that if you're there live, you'd have your mind blown by it. You think about it when you leave, and it's encouraging you to keep wrestling as a live medium because you can't go nuts for the things you see on television because it'd be every week all the time.
Yeah.
If you're in the building.
We saw Commander. Remember, we both were
God,
how good does that look live? It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Height and pace. And that's not right.
No.
It reminds you, the one spot for me that always does this, anytime I'm in person for a superplex, you're like, oh, yeah, that's why the superplex will be here forever. It might look the tamest of the high spots to do to one another now that wrestling has advanced in the way it has. In the building, Jesus Christ, you just cross halfway through a 20 by 20 ring, landing flat on your back from all the way up there. Yeah.
Wild. We come back from the break. Jeff comes in, cleans house, but gets countered by Axiom into a cross-arm breaker. Fraser goes for a dive, but Matt catches him and hits him with a side effect on the floor, which isolates Axiom against the Hardys. There's a plot twist by them to get a near fall. They set up their finishers when Axiom counters a twist of fate, shoves Matt into a corner. Jeff's climbing up there, so he gets crotched, obviously. Axiom hits a Spanish fly with Jeff Hardy, and Nathan follows that up with a Phoenix splash. Looks like they've got the match won, but Matt dives to break up the pinfall. There's a whisper in the wind onto both of them, and a twist of fate by Jeff Hardy for a near fall on Nathan Fraser. They set up Fraxiom for a high-low combo, but miscommunication, bad time or whatever. Axiom inadvertently nails Fraser with a missile dropkick. He's taken out of it.
Flush.
Yeah. Axiom eats a twist of fate from Matt, and then a swanton bomb from Jeff Hardy. 1, 2, 3, the Hardys retain.
This was so good, and not just a match where both teams did all their stuff like executed the stuff really well. And at this point, the Hardys execute different things to what Fraxiom are capable of, and you can see. But that was explored in a way that, like, I almost want to say was quite artful. The difference between these two teams became what was almost magic about it. The fact that Fraxiom can talk the good game about the Hardys being their favourite tag team of all time and how they have been inspired to take what the Hardys did and take it to the next level, and then proceed to do that, but just fall a little bit short to the legends that can be smarter, that can like work smarter rather than harder, can know when to move out of the way. You know, yes, it's a miscommunication, and it's been the story of Fraxiom's potential, year-long breakup dream tag title run at this point.
You can buy it selectively, though, situationally.
Absolutely. This had echoes.
It was that or the end of the Hardys, basically. So
This had, in the way this was like thought about and thus agented before it hit the ring, and I have to assume that like, loath as I am to give him credit after years in this podcast, but like you always used to hear about Edge and Matt Hardy and Bully Ray, and there were certain wrestlers that put those matches together, and you know, you can kind of see that even now. This was sort of thought about and considered about those differences and about those contrasts, but the low-lying similarities that reminded me a lot of CM Punk's AEW run in the early stages, the old veteran and the wrestlers that he inspired, and them trying to beat him with their stuff and him still having the mind that they had yet to develop and the maturity and all that sort. That was buried within a match of high spots and the old guys that can do smaller versions of those high spots. And I was saying to Sidge before we came in, like, I've had doubts about this match all day long because I'm not normally the guy to go stand up for AEW on this podcast, but I'm watching this and I'm almost like annoyed. Like with Matt Hardy in particular, Jeff to a lesser extent, but I'm almost annoyed. How dare you? How dare? I know they've had like positive feedback from the TNA run. So if you've been watching, and I haven't, but if you've been watching the Hardys, like let's say weekly for the last 6 months, this is probably less of a shock to you. But I'm watching this being like, how dare you? Outside of maybe trying your hardest against the Young Bucks, this didn't exist. This thought, this effort, this work did not exist when you were working for not another 2-bit indie, the number 2, you know, by a massive distance, the number 2 in America, and a mainstream platform almost as big as WWE, the other billionaire backed pro wrestling organization. You had it, and you were never going like this. And I, like, as good as this was, and we never put the Hardys over for out, other than my little like Jeff Hardy.
Don't deserve it.
Other than my little Jeff Hardy, go on then, one more run, mate.
Yeah.
Like, and taking the piss a bit, we never really put them over for the work. The work in every respect was like borderline great, Sidge, I'm going to say at various points, but I was just frustrated being like, you piss takers. Matt, especially, you piss takers.
Oh, he's an inveterate carny.
Because this was a really, really strong bit of business.
This is really good. I was shocked by how much I got into this because Matt Hardy is, alongside Road Dogg, Kane, Triple H, my ultimate wrestling ick. Just, God, there's worse pundits. But I quite like Bully Ray in the ring, shoot me.
Yeah.
I quite like the Dudleys, you know. Dumb, but fun.
Yep.
In terms of pure wrestling match and promo and character and just everything, Matt Hardy's up there with the ultimate icks, and I thought he was really strong here. That little back elbow at the start.
Yeah, right at the beginning,
just set the tone of, right, we're smarter and probably going to be a little bit more vicious than you, and it's up to you to level up to us. Just a smart placement of the easiest move imaginable, where of all people, Matt Hardy, who looked like one of the littlest people in the Attitude Era, just does like, he looks like an old stiff veteran.
Yeah. He's on JBL veteran.
Just some smart choices employed throughout. I was going to put over, and I want to put over the spot where I think it's Axiom does like one of those backdraft explosion bumps from a double team. But then I think if I say that, it would seem to indicate that yes, there's an element of it, but like that Fraxiom just created all the movement for the Hardys and the carried them or whatever. And that wasn't really the case.
That's what we were anticipating, wasn't it?
That was what I was anticipating. I thought the Hardys were genuinely really good in this match. Did I have one more thing to say on it? So I expected this to be like the tag team equivalent of Okada, Brody King, where it's so weird how like one person is desperately trying to have a great match and the other person just couldn't be arsed. I thought this would be like two wrestlers who are really fast and just not deliberately trying to blow up the Hardys, but just, you know, they can't help themselves because they're young, dumb, and full of calm. And I just expected this to be like really awkward at points, not deliberately, but just the wrinkles of time just presenting themselves. But the Hardys were up for it. Like, Fraxiom knew exactly when to just cool down a little bit. This is just a good bit of storytelling and a good bit of business, this.
Following this, we go backstage. Jada Parker is there talking about, waiting for the main event tonight. She's got next, and it's revealed she's talking to Mickie James of LFG Season 1. Poor old Mickie James. She didn't deserve that. But Mickie says, look, I tell the people on LFG.
There's like at least three indignities now.
Yeah.
Mickie James, bag of trash.
Yeah.
Undertaker wants his, not necessarily at the expense of Mickie James, but what are you going to do? Have 2 lady judges? I think so. We got 1 token.
What kind of business will this be?
We got 1 token lady, so we don't need 2 really. What's Booker T going to do? Come on.
Yeah.
Switch on.
Mickie says that she tells her students to sit around and wait for opportunity, but Jada doesn't wait. She takes what she wants and makes no apology. You belong at the top, she says to Jada Parker. Make your shot, especially standard delivery yo-yo season. Jada says real recognises real. And there's a nice moment between the two of them.
Yeah.
Can I just go too hard on this otherwise pleasant exchange that I used to enjoy and didn't really have any feelings on?
Yeah.
Hated it.
Okay.
Jada Parker looks so happy to be there. The good thing about Jada Parker is that she's got this edge and this attitude and this swagger where she just looks so much cooler than the company. And I'm always impressed by that. She was like, it's Mickie James. Let's put the smile on for Mickie James. It didn't suit her. Mickie James just seemed to like repeat different variations of the same bit of advice.
Yeah.
Like
They painted on the performance on the walls anyway.
Yeah, these like just absolutely
they have to see that every day.
Empty
Go with the flow,
platitudes.
swim with the tide.
Yeah.
empty platitudes, and Jada Parker, I'd be like, yeah, fucking genius, that Mickey. Well done.
Oh, let me write that down.
Yeah, let me write that down.
Be a good wrestler.
Yeah. I haven't seen it on Instagram today, so I might well write that down. And it's just, I'm not digging at Mickie James. It's the scripted dialogue.
Yeah.
I hate, and I have hated for years, this reverence that the young wrestlers are meant to show towards like the people. You respect the fucking business now.
Pave the way.
Pave the fucking way.
Where's your paving sledge?
And they left it better than the found it. I just hate it. Like they're like, oh yes. Sounds like you and Triple H.
Or you and Big Bicep Tone. Yeah. Now that that's back.
It's not that back.
It's feeling kind of back.
It's not. He'll do something to piss me off.
It wasn't a better one in terms of that because obviously the wrestler was instructed to play it a little bit cooler, but we hadn't like an even better example of that later.
Oh God,
yeah.
that piece of
so
trash.
hard from coming.
I
out,
did bad part.
coming out the shadows. Like when you freeze it on
In the shadows of death, Death Valley. There it is.
the camera's gonna pan. You could have got to 50 names before you got to the answer. I was honestly like, that Stewie Griffin in front of the telly where he's like evil genius baby until a kid show comes on. He's like, like him. I forgot he was going to be there again.
Well, we stick around in the back because the family are sat around having a chat about what happened last week. No Tony, just Stax, The Riz, and Luca Crucifino. And Stax says, I knew it.
Shut up, man.
I knew T shouldn't have competed last week. It's my fault he's not North American champion no more. And Riz says,
What's that? I don't know what that is.
Absolutely abysmal.
Riz says,
Stax, what are you talking about?
and Luca says, oh, we'll get it back. Don't worry. And Stax says, no, I let my temper get the best of me. You guys don't understand what T and I have been through. And then Tony appears to say, oh, yeah, but I do. It's like one sort of entrance, maybe. Stax, you're the underboss. You should know better. Emotion's a sign of weakness. Stax says, yeah, but the same thing could be said about the family right now. No respect, not feared, no one's looking. Tony interrupts. Oh, I get what you're saying, all right, and I agree with you. But listen, we're the best when we have a game plan. So here's what we're gonna do. Stax cuts across him. I'm already on it, Don. Next week, 6-man tag match. It's gonna be Luca, me, and The Riz versus Izzy, Brooks, and Nico. And Luca chips in. It's a signed, sealed, and delivered. Ever already approved. Stack says, look at that. Consiglieri's already on it. Tony's like, oh, all right. Where the hell do I figure in all this? Stack says, T, I just thought that since I dropped the ball and cost you the match and the way your back is. Tony says, oh, my back is fine, all right? You didn't cost me the match.
It's a wonderful world, isn't it?
Okay, you want to do this? Fine, I'll co-sign on it. And Tony and Stack shake hands.
Wonderful.
What will we fix next week?
Wonderful recap as always, Wilbourn. Thank you for that. This is high drama, not for anybody but us, I think, or anyone that's a friend of yours. But I see this and I think high drama. Like I think about what might be going through your head as you watch this. This for me, and I think we've touched on another podcast that you are going to be attending now at 9 a.m. Stand Deliver in Las Vegas, Nevada. And
good job. Nothing big's happening the night before that, eh?
No, not like the biggest and best screen of SmackDown in all of Las Vegas as part of the capper of the WhatCulture World Tour taking place at the HyperX Arena, 3 p.m. till late, and by late we mean the next day. WhatCulture.com/tickets. The increasingly looks like it's going to be.
Have another run at that website again.
WhatCulture.com/tickets. Did I say it wrong?
Forward Flash tickets. You said.
Forward Flash.
Yeah.
None of that.
Happens in Vegas.
No, that isn't. Thank you.
Shouldn't be cocky, yeah?
Absolutely not. Screen's not big enough. And it is made of plastic. It's going to be the 4-on-4 where it all potentially falls apart, or we might actually have time to get to Tony D'Angelo versus Channing Stacks Lorenzo with you in attendance.
Yeah.
I think you've considered both, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for it.
It felt very clear to me that it can only be one of those two directions. And if you do have the 4-on-4, I'm pretty sure I know which way that's going and how as well. And you get to be there.
More heartbreak for me at Stand and Deliver regarding the family.
This is true. Yeah. Boom to bust with old Tony D, isn't it?
Yeah, was it Tony got rid of Ciampa?
Yeah.
That was the highlight. Get his ass out of here, Tony. Everyone else like, well done, Ciampa. What a career. And he's like, get your ass out of here.
Wasn't
the
just
new crew here right now.
It wasn't just that. It was, thank you, Ciampa. And if you remember, he was doing all the Triple H poses, and nobody had told him that Triple H was actually returning to television to say goodbye, my son. And he's just like, get out of here, you schmuck. Yeah.
And then, of course, you know what happened last year. Should have won the title, really, shouldn't
Yeah.
he?
Yeah, we
The
do.
Dragons can show up on the Raw the next somewhere. But yes, very exciting times for the family. Sage, any thoughts on this? Okay.
I think I'll split up or something.
Something great.
Oh, hark! I think I can hear a problem with the plumbing again. I better. Well, after what happened yesterday, I
You
should
couldn't
probably
hear it
check
yesterday,
that.
so I trust Sidge implicitly.
Sidge, can
to
you hear
catch it.
anything?
Hark, Sidge.
The fact that I didn't immediately, my anxiety sensors are going off. Now there's no flood.
Didn't hark at all.
But better safe than sorry. I'll just check. It was just it was pipe upstairs. So I'll just.
We've
run
already
upstairs.
turned the light off and the plumber's been.
Yeah, but I'll double check. Might have, missed something or whatever. I'm sure he's fantastic at his job, whoever he is. But
like you're under mine.
Have you got a background in plumbing?
I'm pretty good at laying pipe, mate. So I'll go and check. I'll be back.
Pretty good. I'm a known sex haver, actually, yeah. What of it?
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Oh, that's good stuff.
Hyperbolic still sat me as well. He's on one today. NXT was good. So it's like made all the free space.
He had a
in his
bit
head.
of like activity yesterday, didn't he? Like a little treat with like the different plumbing,
Yeah.
the 20 minutes off work and all the rest. But I think it's on one.
Hey, Stacks, you all right?
Hey, we'll be needing this next week because I'm in action, obviously. How's it going, guys?
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
be back in the normal room, huh?
Yeah, wasn't great yesterday, was it? So you smashed that
Sorry
window
about the
on the way in
breakages and all that.
and the way out, which I thought was odd. You could have just used the door the second time.
That's my bad. That's on me. But weird time yesterday, huh? With all the plumbing.
Like a bit of a flood situation.
All that water pouring down. I was worried I was going to get wet. Speaking of which, what's the deal with wetness, huh? Sidge?
Why don't you ask Wilbourn's mother? She knows all about it.
I never met the lady, but she sounds like a classy broad, actually. So,
All right, okay.
Anyway, it's, actually, speaking of wetness, my missus was screaming last night. She was like going, give it to me, give it to me. I'm so wet, give it to me right now. I told her, get your own umbrella, huh? 3 questions, 3 jokes for you. Question joke number 1, Sidge. Why was Billy Joel's laundry still wet, huh?
Because he didn't start the dryer.
It was always...
Different sound effect today.
Of course.
All right, yeah.
You're going to get the 3 points.
Want to get 3 points.
Yeah, but we're going to get 3 A's.
Yeah.
Question joke number 2. Hamflett, what is wet on the inside, hairy on the outside?
Meant to be a pussy, but that's obviously not the joke. That's not the joke. He's leading me down one path.
Oh, what?
These,
Yeah, you're going to have the rug pulled, as it were.
That's what's happening here. Just trying to think.
And I'm not finished. What is wet?
That's out of pocket, pal.
What is wet on the inside, hairy on the outside, starts with C, ends with T, and has a U and an N in the middle, huh?
Wet on the inside, hairy on the outside. Starts with the C, ends with the T. You went, right, okay. This is it.
Should we get up? I can't concentrate now.
Hot in here.
Yeah. So wet on the inside, hairy on the outside. C-T-U-N. So it's a word, obviously, that begins with...
Starts with a C and ends with a T.
Conduit.
It could be a hairy conduit, couldn't it?
What's hair got to do with anything?
Hairy on the outside.
It's a conduit. Like anything.
Yeah.
Anything can be a conduit.
Anything, yeah, so you could have hairy ones.
Conduit.
Good night, right? What is wet on the inside, hairy on the outside, starts with C, ends with T, and's got a U and an N in the middle? Coconut. Tell that one to your kids. They'll love it. Speaking of which,
I mean, they probably won't get the thing they're supposed to be misdirecting them with. Like,
explain that as well, obviously.
Yeah.
Question joke number 3. Guys, what do women and fridges have in common?
You've done this joke before?
is that what it is? I feel like this is familiar.
I've done women and freezers, maybe.
yeah, that's what you remember that one.
Fucking hell,
That's unbelievable. I remember that. That's one of the best
one of the
ones.
best ones. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Oh, it just left me absolutely. I couldn't do anything in my life anymore. Right, to set up again, Stack, sorry.
What do women and fridges have in common, huh?
Oh, I don't know.
What did he even ask you for a definition of? I've forgotten.
Wetness.
Right.
To deal with wetness.
Wetness. What about when's the fridge at its wettest? That's when like something melts or leaks or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I can't even confer here.
I'm spent.
Spent.
Don't know, Stacks.
Good night, Ryan. What do women and fridges have in common? They both drip when they're screwed. See you later.
Oh, dear. Got 4 matches after this.
Yeah. Yeah, like big stacks for an early stacks, that wasn't it?
Yeah. Well,
He's got a lot going on.
Do you think, sorry, my tennis elbow's playing
Yeah.
Bye, Stacks.
Stacks.
If there was a flood, here he is, Wilbourn.
What was the situation?
Oh, good night's fine.
Oh, thank goodness.
Just wanted to double check everything, obviously.
But we've had all day to
Yeah.
He missed Stacks.
Oh, you're joking. Is he all right?
He was. 3 doozies.
Yeah, 3 doozies.
Yeah.
Well, like, get back
And
to
the
him.
fourth one, which is kind of dangerous because sometimes you could possibly prepare for it and then your kind of head's gone for when you're trying to predict the jokes.
Yeah. What'd you get up to?
We didn't actually get past the family.
Oh,
meeting,
okay,
yeah,
perfect.
It was just like Stacks interrupted, so...
pick right back up. He always pops in. You missed this because you're always out there.
Yeah.
Pretty much right after his segment. So we kind of
That's
give us the
convenient.
chance to move forward with the show. Like one time, like if he, I don't know, dropped in sort of halfway through, we could talk about some of his other colleagues, but it's always his stuff.
Yeah. Well, timing.
Yeah.
It's a bit like you in that you like your own stuff as well. Like, I remember when we filmed the advert for last year's trip to Philadelphia. The thrust of the advert was like Hamflett's an idiot. We're all gonna. He's gonna.
It's always sunny on
That was
March.
D.
He was D, and it's always sunny. And at the end, we had to like just berate him. And for whatever reason, Wilbourn, look at him, he loves it. Wilbourn decided to just do Batista in his face, and he was so chuffed with himself. He just went up to Phil. He was, can I see that? Is that camera? He's like, listen, I'm sorry.
It's good.
It's good stuff.
Yours. Oh, yeah, which I really liked as well.
What's the phrase? You can watch it when it goes on YouTube now. I'm going to need the rushes. Eric's going to need to see this.
I love it.
Loved it. So that's top banter there. I need to see this.
The work you made Phil go to for the first resurfacing of the Strange Doctor. Like, 'cause it wasn't about Doctor Strange. It wasn't as
had to go
tied to the
deep
content
dive,
as you would
yeah.
think. I'm going to need you on this, Phil. Nobody would ever want that guy to appear on a podcast.
God,
I know
no.
that much.
No, I know that much.
Jordan Grace versus Roxanne Perez.
It's good too.
What's next? I like the fact that Roxanne Perez started the match by running away.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. But Grace grabbed her and beat her up, obviously. But Roxy came back by catching Grace on the steps and targeting her knee, and basically that's what she did throughout the entire match. Grace actually took like an 8 count to get back in after this. But Grace fires back up, catches Roxy for a slam, leaps up, but the leg, during the match, there was a nice few spots of this, of the leg giving out. This happened with when she tried to jump up on the turnbuckle, and Roxy took over, wrapped her knee around it, and stomped on it as we went to a break. When we come back, Perez still in control, still targeting that knee. Grace comes back, hits a sit-out powerbomb for 2, but Perez flips out of a Death Valley driver and hits a super kick, gets a 2 count off the back of a frog splash. Grabbed a crossface with a nice fish hook to Jordan Grace, whilst also cranking on the leg at the same time. But as she goes for pop rocks, that gets countered. A huge back fist from Jordan Grace and a Death Valley driver into the Juggernaut driver gives her the 1, 2, 3.
This was excellent, man. Like, I was left watching this questioning if I've been harsh on Roxanne Perez for not praising her enough over the last couple of years. It's sometimes too easy to have a bit of fun at the expense of the Stumbo Bumbo promos, the times when they're testing her as a heel and she's maybe tried something in the performance center and thought, I'll do that on camera. And it's like, it's a bit cartoon, pantomime, villainy, that sort of thing. Because from the very beginning, when they signed her, she already had the makings of a great wrestler. And then it's everything else that either they've stapled onto her as a heel or that she had in spades as a babyface that you've kind of seen her work with within this performance center. So sometimes it'll be that she's working with somebody that could be older and theoretically more experienced, but she's leading them through a match by the nose and they just can't go with her and she has to like lower herself. I don't know what it is. And then you see her in the Rumbles and you see her with the main roster women and immediately it's like, oh, there that is. That, it could have been that from the beginning. I just got loads of that here. Like you could drop this on a Raw, on a PLE, and I'm not saying the gap is even always that big between NXT and the main roster, as the main event will show as well. But just what an accomplished match this was from both of them. Like really, really tight body part work from Roxanne Perez that is immediately justified by seeing the two of them together, but the knowledge from their prior match that she can out-wrestle Jordan Grace. She should be intimidated by the size difference and the power difference, but knows that she's got potentially a bigger wrestling brain, and it's like, right, how do I go about using that strategically while also taking shortcuts because I'm willing to do that as a heel. I love watching wrestling like this. I bring it up all the time because it's a consequence of the churn, but this was Roxanne Perez versus Jordan Grace, and luckily they're both terrific, so they can both be the best version of themselves. Great opposition, lovely chemistry. Cannot wait to watch this again on and you know it, you cannot wait to watch this again on bigger stages, and you'll see it. This was really cool.
This is really strong. Really, really, really strong. Great contrast, as Hamflett points out. They worked with it perfectly. Almost certain intentional botch from Jordan Grace. I love the bravery to do that.
Yeah.
Because I'll level with you. The cat must have jumped on us or something. I zoned out. I went, oh, that was awful. And I was like, but then Vic Joseph said, that's obviously the result of the leg work. And I was like, I'm going to rewind this, lock in, pay full attention, just to see who did the best job here. Jordan Grace with an intentional botch or Vic Joseph with an incredible recovery. And I think it was evidently Jordan Grace. I love that. I need to see more of it. I can understand why wrestlers aren't brave enough to do it, because they will get accused of pretending to have faked the botch. But you see literal errors in sport all the time. And I know that wrestlers do make mistakes in the context of the match to drive the plot forward. Like a wrestler will go for a second move, getting cocky, and the babyface will know how to reverse. I know errors happen in matches, but not enough for me. You see mistakes in sport all the time. It's a huge part of it, like the mental pressure and the accumulation of fatigue and all the rest of it, like a misplaced pass. And you should see more of it. And I think maybe it's a device to get out of this clean, almost perfect wrestling that you get nowadays.
Choreographed accusations.
Indeed. I would like to see more of that. I thought this was just the finish, and the pacing of the finish was done really well, because I had the distinct thought watching it of, are they telling the story here of Roxanne Perez realizing her status as the ace of this brand is just slipping away, evaporating? And as soon as that thought entered my head, if that's a good story to tell, the finish is like, all right, she already has.
Yeah. And what a night to make it clear on the undercard who the potential ace is.
Yes,
Based
yeah.
on what you're setting up later.
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Like what you were guaranteed, whoever won.
Yeah.
You're like, well, a double champion's going to need an ace for this super fight.
Yeah.
We talked about it a bit yesterday, but I now even more like the idea of Vaquer doing double duty.
Yeah.
Stand deliver, because the idea of here's Roxanne Perez. I know size difference, but what have you. Here's Roxanne Perez. She was literally just the world champion, and she got her ass handed to her by Jordan Grace, and she was 100%. Imagine facing Jordan Grace in, main, co-main, whatever you want, stand and deliver, and you've already wrestled.
I'd have an open and close for the story of that main event and the quality of that main event, and how Jordan Grace and Stephanie Vaquer can work with it, and you potentially open up a nice opportunity for somebody on the undercard, maybe like a Jada Parker who gets her fresh, and then if she loses, it's you took on the fresh Stephanie Vaquer. So that's I love this. This was another night. NXT's had this before, where they've put 3 women's matches on back to back, and it's at the point where you don't even really notice. This did that in the quality of the work. You're no longer thinking, this is one of the women's slots on the card. It's this is the cream rising to the top. The best are on this show, and the best are getting this stage.
The men's world champion, Oba Femi, Moose was walking backstage, then Oba Femi, but he stops and turns. And who comes out of the shadows but the dead man?
Oh my god.
I need a crate of those black and purple plaid shirts. The fans will get it. The fans will get it.
They'll get it go.
He says he's been watching Oba Femi for a while now. He's very impressed.
Why don't you look at that, mate?
Yeah.
You miserable cunt.
I've been keeping eyes on you for upwards of 2 hours.
He doesn't need to tell Oba how important this match is. Go out there and defend your yard.
Right. Love this. Right. For a few reasons, okay. One, go out there and defend your yard. The Undertaker treated the invasion as a shoot. The man, Mark Calloway, treated the invasion as a shoot. You'd already won.
Yeah.
You had already won, and it was that, that really horrible story of the Japanese soldier didn't realize that he didn't have to keep fighting World War II. That was the Undertaker in 2001. They'd won. The food was on your table, and they couldn't take it off your table. because, you'd already won. And, like, certain wrestlers like, I ain't doing business with you. RVD, what does R stand for? Reckless. Like, there was, like, loads of, like, and, like, like, there just wasn't any of it really at all. There was no willingness to...
I'm sorry, Mr. Cable. You got a problem with our ropes?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like, but Taker was the absolute worst for it, like with Canyon.
Yeah.
It's almost like he just didn't like Canyon. If you look at every single physical interaction they've ever had from SummerSlam 2001...
all the way through.
Live long day. Like, Jesus Christ, like, he killed Canyon. It's even before you take out the chair shot, the Invasion Canyon, that cage match, he just splashes on him and calls it a match.
Thinks the Invasion's a shoot, and he thinks Kane's a shoot brother.
Yeah.
I gotta saddle up my sibling and get to work.
So I love the idea that he's like, it's going to take your fucking job. It's going to take your fucking job, Oba Femi. What you going to do about it?
Do you expect me to go home and tell my kids that Uncle Kane is out of work? They ain't firing a dead man, but they might fire his brother. Unless we do something about that fucking Chuck Palumbo, they might fire Uncle Kane.
He's coming to take your goddamn job. I was surprised Take hasn't invented a slur for TNAs.
Those stinking impactors. Do you know down there?
Those dicks heads.
Dicks
like
heads, like old six-siders.
Yeah.
You fucking sixer! I'll kick your fucking ass.
Oh, Mr. Less Space on your ropes. Oh, I get it, cables. 6 sides of cables.
Oh, God damn, what it says is that you fucking sixer! I'll kick your ass, sixer!
X division, why not try joining the 6 division? Because I have it all the fucking time.
With Michelle McCool.
And she invented the Styles Clash, you 6 asshole.
Did it better.
Did it better than AJ. I like the guy now. We have some chats about the Earth. But back then, I didn't care for him.
So,
Nice try, buddy, but I don't cross the line.
bound for glory, bound for second place, if you ask me. Just like the WCW.
The only victory road I ride on is the one my bike's on.
My other favorite thing about this, other than the fact that I just like to defend your yard, I get it makes storyline sense, it's just funny.
Yeah.
It's just funny. Is like, it's
Wednesday in Asylum. I prefer this Tuesday in Texas.
I didn't even know I lost the title.
And it didn't draw.
And I was kind of the beginning of the end. Anyway.
Only one man I will work with from TNA. And that's Shark Boy. He got history.
I'll get my hands on him. Another bit is like he comes out the shadows, right? That's his facial expression. Bearing in mind, he's just about to endorse Oba Femi and say, like, I've been watching your work and I think you're pretty good, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. He's endorsing. He is endorsing Oba Femi. No, wait a second. Wait a second. He looks like such a miserable prick. I understand you're meant to be tough, and you got this exterior of like, you can't be like, hey! But like, can you just look like, and even like a sort of a, like a little nod or something in your face. Yeah, you're good. Like, is I'm endorsing new talent phase. I'm sure he walked up the prom breaker or someone like that. He did it with Wyatt on Raw is XXX as well. His I'm endorsing someone face is exactly the same as, well, Goldberg just broke my fucking neck nearly. Like when he looks like so pissed off. And like obviously like we have fun with the dead man. He looks, I would be furious if I was in his position and he's like, he's like,
we're gonna go.
What the hell happened there now? But his face, you're endorsing someone.
Do you think he was annoyed because, like,
You've done it now. You've gone and pressed the take.
he read his the direction for it, he misunderstood because like, Shadow, got it. not shadow boxing take. It's not 2003 no more.
Yeah, getting it on camera. Goddamn good shadow boxing right there.
Why'd I say action after I stopped?
We got a video recapping Eddie Thorpe's demand for an NXT Underground match next week against Trick Williams. And then
Stinking sixers.
You sixer, get out of here.
earlier on the day, Trick cut a promo saying that Eddie Thorpe thinks the Underground match is his match. Fuck that! It's time to get back on top. What's wrong, Trick? You're right.
It is not working. Ask anyone. Ask around. Go on. So this is not working as a. We're all ready for a Trick to give over one last run at Stand and Deliver. No.
Nope.
I don't like fuck off cunt Trick Williams one bit.
No, it's not good stuff.
But then we got Oba Femi.
Taker likes him.
Yeah.
I like the cut of your dream.
A lot of good there.
Then we got Oba Femi versus Moose for the NXT Championship, of course. Which one of us said this was going to be a good match? Oh, it was me, yeah. Stare down at the start.
You're on the roll of a lifetime at the moment.
Cute. They lock up. Femi eventually runs him over, but gets a bit too cocky, and Moose knocks him out to the floor with a clothesline. Moose is on the apron, and I don't know what the move is. Is it just a chop to the chest or a slap or whatever?
Yeah.
But he does it. It sounds like a gun goes off in the arena. Oba slaps him down, yeah.
You need slapping down.
Femi's on the apron. Moose hits a big boot, sending him to the floor. Moose gets caught with a uranagi on the apron by Oba to take us to a break. When we come back, Moose got him in a chin lock, but Femi powers up and throws Moose across the ring.
Oh my God.
Then hits him with a fall from grace, but Moose wisely rolls to the outside and counters Oba Femi even when they're on the outside.
Who's that?
To the ring steps.
I know who Oba Femi.
They trade some big strikes when they get back in the ring. Moose goes for that bit where he runs up the turnbuckle and jumps backwards, and he just flies straight into a huge uppercut from Oba Femi. But Moose hits a big boot and runs up to the top, but Oba takes him out, gets a near fall with a DVD. Moose eventually sets up for a superplex. Huge pop, obviously, when they hit it, but after he lands the superplex, Moose tries for a vertical suplex. Femi counters, hits a suplex of his own. They're both out. Oba hits some big shots and a clothesline. Moose fires back with a pump kick. They did this spot in TNA, I think, and they understandably won't do that again. He hits him with a pump kick, but Oba just sort of eats it and wobbles backwards and then fires back up. Huge lariat. He goes for a fall from grace. That gets counted into a powerbomb for a near fall from Moose. He goes for another one. But Femi counters that, gets Moose on his shoulders, and gorilla press slams him to the floor.
Oh my God.
That's unbelievable.
That was good stuff. That was good stuff. I do know that Moose has got a rep in wrestling of, I'll do anything.
Yeah.
And then people say, it goes two ways. I was like, you're massive, and just because you can, it doesn't mean I don't want you moonsault in my face and stuff like that. But he's like, yeah, just throw me about as well.
The ref counts to 9, but Moose...
It was like a new sound when he hit the floor because he's too big for it to be a simple thud.
Yeah.
There was this clump noise that because you never imagined what that noise would be when a man that big gets dropped from that height to that floor. Oh my God, brilliant!
Moose gets back in right at the last second. They sort of goozle each other. They trade blows. Femi sends Moose over the top with the clothesline, but Moose sends Oba into the ring post. Rock bottoms him into the commentary table. Throws Oba back into the ring, takes aim, hits a spear, gets a great near fall out of that, lays in some punches, goes for another spear again, but charges right into a fall from grace. 1, 2, 3, Oba Femi retains.
Fair play. Absolutely fair play to the pair of these. I had low expectations, and not even just low expectations, I just didn't really have high hopes for this. I thought it's so much better in everybody's head than it can be in practice. Oba Femi, as much as I enjoy him a lot, is sometimes exposed as not the finished article, and
There's two guys in there.
Yeah, you're watching it going, why have they
But
booked
Moose
this?
is the size of two guys.
Maybe that was the trick here. Why have they done that to Oba Femi on this night when he's such a project still? But no, this was And you wouldn't think it by the layout and the way the match was called, by the commentators and stuff. Ultimately, if you watch this back, this was basically Moose getting a couple of hope spots. This was constantly Oba Femi's match, but like they were like in the building and everything, it was trying to present like, oh, Moose is maybe Oba's equal. Like he match him for power, and maybe he's got more in the locker because of his high flying game and all that sort of stuff. No, anytime Moose got anything, it was basically just a hope spot. Oba Femi exerted and held total control, and like that takes poise, and it takes like sort of everything, the dark arts, the footwork, the ability of somebody like years more experience than Oba's actually got. Moose, to his immense credit, showed ass all the way through. Like he gave himself to the cause of Oba Femi here. This was an admirable, like, you know, if you want to be a bit more cynical in wrestling, you say it was like he working for a different job, because it will have been handshakes and high fives for Moose backstage from all the right people about the job he did, and his job on this night was to make Oba Femi look every bit the monster that NXT constantly try and present him as. Like a towering triumph of a match all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm no Moose fan really, but this was sensationally done, you could say. Like I was watching parts of it, and I'm thinking, you know, I've got. Comparison is a thief of joy. I really can't help it sometimes. Like, just do it mentally. I'm like, this isn't PWG, Dijak versus Keith Lee. Mm-hmm. My problem is if something's just amazing once, I'm like, oh, I'll just do that.
It's good to have a reference.
I'll just watch that.
Tops it. You're like, oh, wow, I've just seen the standard get topped. Yeah.
Yeah. But then there were like elements of the match where I'm like, this is giving me that same feeling. I'm making some of the same noises. The biggest noises are made in the next two matches, though, I'll say that. Remember the Sidgwick's noises reviews?
Of course, yeah.
I'll do them for the next two.
I don't know who I want Oba Femi to face at Stand and Deliver.
It's Trick Williams. So
Point.
It's going to be, but I want it to be a big lad, because like one last year with two big lads was class. Dijak again, as you mentioned.
Oba Femi should work Jacob Fatu on the main roster at some point.
Holy fucking shit!
Yeah, imagine that. He'll kick ass.
Slow down, buddy.
We go to a video posted by Zaria from TikTok. Soul's got a match with Chelsea Green next week, and they've gone to a rage room and smashed it all up.
Yeah.
That looked like a load of fun.
It's like they obviously couldn't come up with, we've done surfing. What does the Australian Mad Max character like?
Rage. She screams a lot in the friggin' rings.
Yeah.
So.
Have you ever done a rage room?
No, I've just booked one for my wife's birthday to go with her friend, because it wasn't really my cup of tea. I don't have that kind of rage within me to do it really, but she does. So they're going to go and do that. So there's one in Newcastle.
I've got rage. I might do it.
Yeah.
Do it. I did one in Birmingham a while back. It was a lot of fun. Just, what do you want to smash? They just have like a room of just like, you know, like old tellies now. Do you want to smash that up for a $5? Yeah, right, put it on there. What do you want, a baseball bat? Yeah, sounds good. Let's go.
I love...
I like the bit where they were just beating up tyres in this video, by the way.
Yeah, what was it, just a performance centre? Right there. I do like... I'm very enthusiastic at the tip. I don't just want to like... If there's the skip in front of you, whatever it is, at the recycling centre or whatever, especially if it's like wood or glass or something that you know is going to get a big smash, you don't want to just tip it over the side. You want to absolutely launch it as far as you can at the skip.
You do this sort of wrestling...
Yeah, I just mine is like the Ric Flair off the top rope. You know, when anybody would catch him and launch.
Yeah.
I've got like I've got this hand here is really powering it as far as I can. So I'm trying to flip it so it takes a bump, that kind of thing. So I get that to an extent. Yeah, just the actual act in a rage room, I don't think I'd have it in me. Rage rooms, escape rooms, all that sort of stuff.
I like escape rooms because I'm stupid.
I think it's a whole load of crap. But I bought a bunch of gifts for my wife because she loves all that sort of stuff, and it gives her a day off being a parent, basically. So I think it's good that those things are about.
Not for you.
Not for me.
I don't like escape rooms. I'm too dumb. I can't really think things through like that. But a rage room appeals.
We should do an escape room, the three of us.
No, I just said I don't like
Film
it.
it. Film it.
Oh, for content.
Oh, Christ, you
Make a podcast
dead-eyed.
out of it.
You dead-eyed
Get those-
content creator.
The old, what's it called? For some reason, I'm picturing the Radiohead music video where they got the cameras on their faces off their helmets.
Oh, yeah.
Just do that, but it was in an escape room.
A bit like yesterday when, and like to his immense credit, because he cares about all of us, Sidge was distracted by the imminent damage being done by the water in this building. And I think we were like maybe trying to keep it on point, and Sidge was, again, to your credit, really more worried about the state of the building.
Yeah.
I'd quite...
Especially when the lights went off. I'm with you there.
You trying to keep it like an NXT preview on the go while me and Sid trying to figure our way out an escape route.
That's quite good.
Yeah, that's a good clue. But, like, of course, the culling are in action later on. So
God, the culling. We'll get to them in a bit. But we see Fatal Influence with Ava. She hasn't got the surname. She's Rock's daughter, general manager of NXT and Evolve, Booker and Cooker of the Year. Fatal Influence, by the way, if you're unaware, sorry, I should mention, that is the former North American champion Fallon Henley, Jasmine Nix, and JC Jane.
well, I want to leave.
Fallon wants a rematch. Ricky Saints walks in. He's like, why is everyone so angry, guys?
It's a weird bit, isn't it?
It's weird.
The match was like very effective at getting him over as this like the one to watch. A star has landed in NXT. Is that like once every 6 weeks in between? Like, what's crazy around here? Like, what the...
Well, he's got Ridge Bloody Holland next week.
Good luck. Bloody hell. I'm not being funny, right? I'm not saying they've... Tony fumbled. Tony fumbled. I'm not being funny, right? It'll go well. It will go well. Presenting Ricky Starks, who's just like male model, hot and cool and debonair and a suave, sexy mother. Is Ava's mate. Do you know what I mean? Like that doesn't make him cool, is it?
Is this cool?
No.
Got a spare ticket to Slipknot if you want. Anyway, at the end of this, Ethan Page walked past and said, NXT doesn't like outsiders. Very good. Because then we got Ethan Page versus Javon Evans in a New York City street fight.
This is pretty good.
This is pretty good.
Oh my
It was
god.
basically Diet Evolve versus Derby.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, even Diet version of that.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Love this, yeah. Ethan Page kicked him
And
right
the
in
own brand.
Ethan Page kicked him right in the face at the bell. Evans comes back, mounted punches.
Typical Javon Evans, when he's not in this story and getting a bit brooding, would enjoy a lot of Professor Peppy, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
he'd
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
That's what gives him his pep in his step.
Yeah.
Yeah, early on he dives onto Page on the outside. They brawl around ringside. Javon Evans grabs a chair and swings, but Page moves, decks Evans, and then sends him into the ring steps. Grabs the chair, nails him across the back with it. Sets one in the corner, but turns around. This time Javon's got a chair, hits him in the gut with it. Want a response, a receipt from the one earlier, hits Page in the back with it. Evans unfolds and sets up a chair. Page charges sort of back and forth. Page charges and gets stopped short, and then Evans just drop kicked him into it, and then raned him into a set-up chair, which looked like it sucked for a nice near fall. We have Evans ducking a roundhouse kick after coming back with a super kick. They both swing chairs. Evans, I think it was Ethan Page, got a power bomb in there. No, it was Evans, because then he set up a table that he tried to set up earlier. He's setting up like a chair bridge, climbs onto them, going for a power bomb. But Ethan Page counters and puts Evan through the chairs for a near fall, then power slams Javon through the table that's been set up in the corner to get a nice 2 count. That takes us to a break. When we come back, Evans hits a springboard forearm, goes for a springboard again, but Page nails him with a shot to the jaw. There's an ego's edge. That again gets 2. Page yells at Javon to stay down, but Evans hits him with a shot. I'm not sure when this had happened. Maybe it was during the break or I just missed this one. A table had been set up like a bridge from the apron to the barricade or the table, the commentary table or whatever. ECW sort of set up there. Evans leapt over the ropes and hit a cutter on Ethan Page through that table.
I just want to interject here. Actually, you know what? No, but come to me first.
Okay.
That's okay.
So Evans grabs Page, sets him up on the commentary table, goes back into the ring, then dives out of the ring onto Ethan Page, and like they both spill over the commentary table. Chucks him back in the ring, hits the middle of the road, but Page kicks out, and Evans decides to Pillmanize the neck of Ethan Page. He wraps a chair around his head, but Page throws a chair at Evans, goes to take Javon Evans out, chucking him onto the chair, but takes a cutter onto it instead, and Page, with his head stuck in a chair, eats a Javon Evans cutter. Wow. 1, 2, 3. Let's talk post-match attack afterwards.
Right. This was, and it sounds like an insult, and maybe it is in my own dickheaded way, Diet Darby Allin Evolve. Like, nowhere near as gross, but it was for WWE. It was really creative.
Yeah.
And some of it just was really. I was wincing at a lot of this. So even though it's not the Hollywood ending or whatever, this was he still had that risk and that feeling of risk, even if he didn't have the blood and the iconic visuals and all the rest of it, or the more extravagant weaponry like glass. I still got the feeling, which it might even be more impressive considering the narrower limitations. Not as good, but maybe as impressive, That cutter to the outside. I was thinking, right, why, when MJF did it to Jay White, which obviously didn't really work because his leg was apparently so injured that Adam Cole had to take a dead guy's ankle to repair his, was going to be substituted for him. I remember seeing that spot and thinking, oh, God, it's just the wrong time for something that looks so amazing. Why hasn't anyone... It's a good job that someone's done it after. It took them 2 years now?
Yeah.
But 18 months or whatever? But that spot looked amazing. But I just remember thinking that MJF, Jay, would just do that in another time because it looks awesome. It looks absolutely incredible. But no, again, I felt things for this match. I couldn't quite believe it.
Yeah, this cuts both ways, but often a feud or any sort of series of matches between wrestlers will be remembered only for the last one. The entire contents of the program between them. And obviously sometimes that can kill it, because if it stinks, then you're just left, I couldn't really pay it off. This is the reverse. A lot of this wasn't very good. Didn't feel like it was bringing Javon Evans along. Was yet another case of NXT, like you've had with the Sean Spears, bringing in someone like an Ethan Page, who is on paper the guy that helps bring a lot of others on. The men's roster in particular, crying out. We always use Ilya Dragunov as the perfect example, crying out for guys like that, and there wasn't enough of them. And then you watch this match and you're left with the feeling that it actually worked. And this will be your memory of it, is this payoff. A lot of the stuff that really connected. I think Javon Evans was kind of in dire need of one of these big payoffs actually working.
After the Orton one.
The Orton one was a memorable failure. And then really, other than the 4-way he had at Heatwave, every time they've taken that next big jump with him, it's not really taken. And you don't want to start getting this reputation of the guy that, yes, can just dazzle you with the high spots, but can never really belong in the stuff that matters, the top level stuff, the big, emotional, evocative matches in the moments. And they did it. They absolutely achieved it here. That finish, wow. I think you said in your recap. Yeah, wow. Creative. Violence is sometimes really hard when you're as flippy, and I am complimenting him here, but when you're as flippy as a Javon Evans, convincing violence is sometimes really hard to come by, and they constructed the perfect spot for him. Yeah.
Post-match, he got attacked by the Retribution to put out.
They all tripped over and stuff. There was a point where, was it when, Javon Evans got out of the corner?
The culling.
No, the culling's the Sean Spears.
Oh, is that them, is it?
He hasn't got a name yet. The Javon Evans got out of the corner, and then 5 minutes later, when one of the attackers arrived, he was like, "Oh no, he's doing it, I missed," and he just threw himself into the turnbuckle. And then they all tried to part ways and hit the middle of the ring, and the two just bumped into each other, and one actually fell over. This is not working.
Are you in the right place? Huh? Actually, maybe not. Maybe go to Evolve or LFG.
Yeah, maybe they do a sort of
assisted power bomb.
Yeah, a throw into a shield bomb, and that's all right. But they kind of look like a bunch of douchebags.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
this was the bit with the culling. Brooks Jensen said he's ready to take on the world thanks to Sean Spears. Nico Vance says they've reshaped NXT. Izzy Dame says the culling has been born to rise to the zenith of NXT.
That's like the Joey Tribbiani synonym. I just want to be clever.
Yeah.
I mean, I do that sometimes in my writing, so maybe I shouldn't, be too harsh. But that's bad. I would write that down because that's awful.
They asked Spears how it feels to taste gold for the first time. He says it's exhilarating, but they're not done. Next week they're going to
50. I'm sure it would. I'm sure it would be.
They're going to
5 times 10.
They're going to take the D'Angelo family's heart next week.
Not the only Sean on NXT that likes culling, is he?
Yeah, I know.
I'm going out on the rant. Hey, Animal, you're living your life. We need to do something about that.
Then Sarah Schreiber was with Eddie Thorpe in the crowd talking about the NXT Underground match. I could barely hear what he was saying because of the whoop that Trick chance, to be fair. He does Trick's going to choke, just like the New York Knicks. But then Trick just attacked him, beat his ass, and clotheslined him over the top.
Just, this is the best opportunity to say, really good crowd all night in a fantastic venue. Wished I was there. Like one of them shows where I wished I was in the building for it, because it just looked awesome.
Yeah.
Looked like the place to be, didn't it?
Still not the Gardens one. I've still got to tick off. Still
And
love
even
to
the
do it.
theatre apparently as well.
Yeah,
We can
the
tick off as well, because that
theatre
was
more
cool
so,
too.
if anything. Then it was time for the.
I love that. Like, it's the Mecca, it's holy ground. Yeah, but NXT's ran the other one. I like that.
The main event of the evening, though, was, of course, title for title, champion versus champion. Stephanie Vaquer, the North American champion, versus the NXT champion, Julia. Title for title, as I said. A bit of a stalemate early on. They sort of trade counters. There's a bit of a look over your shoulder standoff moment between the two of them. But Julia eventually takes control with a missile drop kick. Vaquer knocks her to the floor, though, and hits a springboard dive to go to a break. We come back. Vaquer sort of hits eat defeat and sets up her running knees in the corner. Does her signature head scissors spot. Yeah.
Oh, teachable moment.
I will say Julia returned the favour later on in the match. After this, Vaquer did take a double underhook superplex from Julia and also a tombstone driver to get a nice 2 count. Vaquer fought back, though, and hit a dragon screw. Hit her SVB finish, but Julia kicked out. But Vaquer went up top, tried for that twisting moonsault of hers, and just basically landed. And we got transitioned into the rings of Saturn. Vaquer desperately has to get to the ropes for a rope break. They keep trading near falls in the closing moments. Julia hits a running knee to get 2. Vaquer hits a super kick, and back-to-back SVBs. 1, 2, 3. Stephanie Vaquer is a double champion in NXT.
I thought this was fantastic, and I would dare say it'll end up being underrated, because it is not easy to do the equal baby faces compete to be the best wrestler match. Like, you are asking the fans to accept both wrestlers for who they are. There was no point here where one took a shortcut and then they were like, right, this is the dynamic. Or there was no, what's like a good, like Brett and the 1-2-3 Kid as cribbed by Punk and Darby Allin, where all of a sudden you can kind of see what kind of role each wrestler's portraying. This was a mirror match between two baby faces that just tried to do it the right way. You know, no shortcuts or anything.
Better than the other one.
Yeah, and that's hard. That's a hard job. And I'm sure even the best wrestlers would say that as well, because it's really easy to lose the audience if you kind of lose the thread of the match because they've not been in there. We don't take bumps, we can't relate. And they just had the audience the entire way through, had me the entire way through. I wanted Stephanie Vaquer to win. And as a result, like, I'd picked my side. But I was watching Julia. This felt real. I was watching Julia try and out-wrestle her, try and out-strike her. I was then watching Stephanie Vaquer, like, slightly, like, she approached this tactically in a smarter way than Julia. You had the injury in the back of your mind, which, again, as we talked about yesterday, what's going on there?
I don't know, it didn't seem like it.
It added to the drama, if nothing else, because you're watching for a weak spot that Julia's trying to mask, and that's pretty effective, you know, as a storytelling device, if nothing else.
Didn't feel like Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14 or nothing.
No,
I mean, she looked fine.
Yeah, so I couldn't tell like where she was injured or anything. So I guess we'll see in the days if what the crack was there, or if they were just trying to protect her, because this is quite a high-profile defeat for somebody that has just recently won the title and been anointed and all of that. But like, the right woman won because she does and has done so far felt the better of the two. The better woman won. People are having the best matches with Stephanie Vaquer, so she's the double champion, and now you get to see her potentially like against Jordan Grace to find out like who's the proper ace. That is the absolute, in every single sense, main event of Stand and Deliver. Like, nothing can touch it for quality, for stakes.
There's not a
anything.
single bloke who can touch that on the roster. No offense, Tony D.
Top stuff. This.
I agree.
There was a goddamn spot on this match that made me shriek, and I'm thinking, that's friggin' NXT, Sidgwick, calm down. Dignity. What's the aerial, the high spot that Vaquer does? It's escaped me.
The
Twisting moonsault.
The twisting
spiral
moonsault
type thing.
Yes,
Isn't it?
yeah.
Her getting that countered seamlessly. It's like she's just fallen into, it was like a fish, a leaping salmon going into, like, you know, the rings of the beer cans. It was just so like that. It was just so seamless. And Julia's facial expression was amazing as well. She's like, got you. It was so well done. They could have practiced that 1,000 times and never got it as perfect as they did then. That was mostly illustrative of the work throughout, which is really good. Like, I like a match, or I'm pretty much echoing Hamflett here completely. I always find it impressive when a match has got like no ambitious story thread going into it other than, well, we have to wrestle each other to prove who's the best. It seems easy, but it's really hard. It can sometimes be so dull. And this was absolutely not dull at all. It felt like a friendly competition with a real edge. Like they were almost like smiling of, no, I've got you.
Yeah.
It felt like that Rocky Apollo thing at the end of Rocky 3. A little bit like, we're mates and we're going to do this. But it was just really, really, really well done there.
Stephanie Vaquer's selling, I continue to just marvel every time. She is able to tell the story of the entire match through how she sells. And it's not a burial, but when she knows she's leagues above the wrestlers she's facing, even when she's selling, she's doing it with a bit more, it's like selling with swagger.
Yeah.
It's like, I've been gotten to here, but I'm all right. There was a couple of times where she was dead in her ass because she's going against the champ. She's going against the best, or she believes she's the best, so Julie must be just underneath her as the second best. And I think she illustrates that really, really well in how she chooses to sell to Stephanie Vaquer. Great. One of my favourites to watch, I think, in 2025 so far.
Yeah.
Great ending to a fantastic show. Do let us know your thoughts on it in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there. You can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Still worth checking out the NXT preview from yesterday, because it's not really about us previewing that show. It's just about all the other stuff. The Dynamite preview is also available right now wherever you get your podcasts from. But for now, this has been the NXT Roadblock, beep, beep, Gallipoli Road review. My thanks to Hamflett, Sidgwick, to Stacks. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.